Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Stay on the watch, episode 24. It's Matthew here as usual. Enjoying life. Very soft life, I must actually say. Today we're going to discuss the Met Gala 2025. I'm only going to go through like maybe 5 different celebrities that the team has chosen for me to react to. Any of these watches that you hear, I'm 100% sure Luxury Time can source for you. So hit them up. Let's start. Okay. Number 1, Pusha T. Rolex Daytona reference 116595 Rainbow. Right? So this is an amazing piece. I know that on the team, our team, a couple of the homies don't actually love the rainbows that much, but I can understand because a lot of watch companies have decided that they're going to make their own versions of these rainbows. But what Rolex has done on that for me is amazing. I mean, when it retailed initially, nobody wanted it, and it eventually, now everybody just wants a rainbow. All watch companies are making dupes of this watch. I must shout out Pusha T's suit though. Like, I really love that suit. That's an amazing piece, and it actually works well with that rainbow. It's a brilliant watch. I really need to make sure that you guys actually understand how amazing this watch is. I'm 100% sure that we'll throw in some images of this watch. But it's a beautiful piece, and I think that, as I always say, that Rolex being in the top 3, they know what they're doing. And with the rainbow, it's such an innovative dial. Entire casing being different sapphire colored stones. I really appreciate that watch, and I think that it's an amazing piece. I really don't care how anybody feels about Rolex Daytonas, but I think that they marvel. Cool. Let's go to the next one. What do you got next? Okay, Coleman Domingo. He's wearing an unreleased Omega Speedmaster Moon watch, professional in moonshine gold. What is moonshine gold, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. I'm very familiar with what moonshine is, but I don't know what moonshine gold specifically means. But it's an amazing piece. I must say that, however, I think that Omega needs to, stop releasing so many different variations of the Speedmaster. Look, it looks amazing, I don't want to lie, but we've got so many different movements in Omega and so many different versions of just the Speedmaster itself that I think that they maybe just need to throw up different pieces, going back into his attire. I don't know, it doesn't really work for this sort of like watch. Had he had a different sort of like maybe different piece, it could have worked, but I don't know, maybe it's color coordination because the dial is actually black and white and his suit is black and white, and then he's got polka dots on his tie. But for me personally, I'm not too sure. It doesn't really go on brand, but Omega is an amazing watch company. I definitely think that they are in the top 5. They've made some brilliant pieces, going from their history into where they are now, their moon phases. I love what they're doing with the Swatch company in terms of the moon swatches and all of that. They're very difficult to get a hold of. I saw that they released a couple in South Africa quite recently, which amazing pieces out. But I don't know, I mean, on one of the previous episodes with Casey, there was a mention of the durability. Don't know how durable they are, but they really are amazing watches, because I really do respect the Swatch brand. But with this Omega Speedmaster, the Moonwatch Professional, in moonshine gold, whatever that means, I don't know. I'm not too sure how I feel about this piece. I think that I need to sleep over it, continue to do a little bit of research on what it looks like, and hopefully get my hands on it pretty soon, and maybe then I could change my mind. But kind of, it's kind of getting outdated, Omega. Let's move over to something new. Right, next, Andre 3K, Andre 3000, the brew who had the whole piano set on his back. That was out there. That was actually something that caught me off guard. I was just like, I'm not too sure how this operates, but it's the Met Gala. Nobody knows what anybody's wearing, to be quite honest with you. All right, he's wearing the Cartier Tank Louis Cartier. Normal simple, for an outlandish sort of like look that he was going for. I'm not too sure what he was going for with that Cartier. Probably something that he likely wears every day, just like a normal piece. It's nothing crazy. That's a daily wear for me. I would really, really, really recommend that for anybody. You can get a luxury time, by the way. Just the subtle inside, just something that can throw you inside there. But legit, you can get that at luxury time. It's a lovely piece, I must say. Tanks are, unmarveled. I think that the fact that they went for the design concept of an actual tank and really put that piece, into a design frame that actually works for its normal day-to-day wear. I think it's an amazing piece. The Louis Cartier is just, they all, look the same in terms of tank, design format. But I love what, Andre 3000 is wearing, watch-wise. In terms of his attire, though, it's pretty interesting to say the least. But yeah, let's move over to the next. Pharrell. Damn. I don't know what to say in terms of like coming over to, just what Pharrell has really been doing inside like the watch community. He's probably had one of the most interesting watch collections that I've really seen in a long time. Especially being in fashion, obviously it makes sense. I mean, him and Jacob and Co come from way back in the day, with the different time zones and the different types of colored pieces. But now he's, opted into a lot of Richard Milles. Here he's wearing the RM7402 on gold open link bracelet, and what a piece. I mean, I've always gone back to how much I respect what Richard Mille has been innovating and doing within the past couple of years. I love it. I think it's an amazing piece. I mean, from the RMs, which one was that one again? Which was the tennis player one? Yeah, the Rafa one. I love the Rafa one. I love the Bolt edition. I love the one that he did with the South African, runner. Yeah, Wayne van Niekerk. I really love that. I loved what they were doing in terms of those pieces. But in general, I really think that Pharrell's his watch collection is unmatched. You really can't talk to Pharrell about watches when it comes to what his collection is. Like I would not even get to the point of disrespecting him on that. I'm not gonna go on my usual rants, but the next one likely, because it's Khaby Lame, gentlemen, women, ladies and gentlemen. Khaby Lame pulling out of that whole thing with multiple different watches on there. I couldn't even tell which pieces those were, but I was really not. Look, I think it was very innovative for him to wear that. I think that it shows that he's going into a more satirical moment where he's just trying to show people that, listen, this is it's like satire at this point with that many watches. It brings me back to when Lewis Hamilton was wearing all those watches, those diamonds, and those chains and everything for the F1 when the FIA decided to ban jewelry. But I don't get what the real concept is of this attire. But look, shout out to Khaby Lame. He goes to show that you don't even have to say anything to become one of the most successful people on the planet. You can just say nothing. But I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about the entire look. I think that, look, it probably works with whatever he was going for in his mind, but it didn't really translate well to the rest of us. It's creative, it's fun, it's dope. It looks really, really, really amazing, but it's not for me, to be quite honest with you. It's not something that I would actually go out there and celebrate. But yeah, I mean, we can move on from that. But yeah, I mean, the whole Met Gala for me was pretty interesting. Hailey Bieber, wearing what she was wearing. I think it was an Opal Dial, one of these, watch companies, Opal Dials. And a bunch of these guys were literally showing off so many amazing, brilliant watches that I still, for me, the one that really stands out was what Pharrell was wearing. That RM was a timepiece to be marveled with. And I think that we need to, give it a little bit of more time and see how it actually digests into the community themselves. I mean, it takes a couple of months for us to really actually understand and, think about, what Coleman Domingo was wearing is unreleased. So once that gets released, then we'll know what the meaning of moonshine is, besides the normal meaning. But yeah, I think that we're sitting on a gold mine of 2025. I wish a lot more celebrities were wearing micro brands. I wish Venezia Nico was somewhere in there, Christopher Ward was, showing face somewhere within that space as well. But honestly, it was a pretty interesting Met Gala. And yeah, I'm not very big on these things, to be quite honest with you. When they asked me to react to it, I was just like, okay. It's almost if I'm reacting to the watches, not the dress code, because nobody ever knows what these people are wearing at these places. But, I'm not hating, as I said, Pharrell and Pusha T. When that was a full Louis Vuitton suit, if I'm not wrong. Shout out to Louis. Stop making watches, but continue doing the whole fashion attire. I love it. I think you guys are doing amazing things out there. But yeah, man, I don't know what to even say. I mean, I'm done for words at this point, to be quite honest with you. Met Gala being Met Gala's Met Gala. But I'd love to shout out a couple of, of our people out there being Luxury Time. Definitely Luxury Time. Shout out to Luxury Time. As I said, you can cop one of these watches out at Luxury Time. Follow them at Luxury Time South Africa. Follow the dial. Check out URLB there on the 31st of March 2025. Brilliant Afrotech event. The lineup is out and it's looking sickening, I must say. But when it comes to, different sort of brands and everything, for me, it's Venezia and Nico. Shout out to them for the V5000 that's releasing pretty soon. And shout out to Christopher Ward. I mean, C1 Moon Phase. It's an amazing piece. It's marveled. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for staying on the watch. Episode 24, as I said. Let's make sure that we subscribe. We follow all the channels. Shout out to you guys and subscribers, all the people who've been following us. Keep commenting, keep giving us your thoughts. Really appreciate it over here. We love your comments and your DMs that come in. People are asking us for advice on different timepieces that they could be purchasing and wearing. And I think that we're sitting in a position right now where honestly we could be doing something amazing, where you guys, your interaction with us is giving us a sound fresh outlook of, I sleep at night and I think about so many different watches, and I actually, based on what the comments are saying, I had to go back and look at Vacheron again. They haven't changed much. Besides the grand complication, one of one piece, but that's a different chat. But yeah, man, stay on the watch. We'll be outside.